Please don't come to party this year. Amanda's in-laws are visiting, and it would be uncomfortable. The text from my mother glowed on my phone screen at 11 p.m. on party eve. I stared at it, my hand trembling as I held my phone. The party gift I carefully wrapped for them sitting mockingly on my coffee table. My name is Kate Mitchell, and at 32, I'd just been uninvited from party by the very parents whose house I'd saved from foreclosure 3 months ago. The same parents who'd accepted my help when I emptied my savings account to clear their $100,000 debt. Uncomfortable? I typed back, though I already knew what she meant. Amanda, my perfect younger sister, had married into the prestigious Wilson family 6 months ago. Her in-laws were old money, the kind that traced their lineage back to the Mayflower and judged everyone by their pedigree. Mom's response came quickly. You know how it is, dear. The Wilsons are very particular about family image. Amanda doesn't want to explain about your situation. My situation. That's what they call it now. Being a firefighter, choosing a career of service instead of following Amanda's path into corporate law, that was my situation. Never mind that my situation had kept them from losing everything. I glanced at the manila envelope on my desk, the one containing all the paperwork from paying off their debt. The desperate calls from Dad 3 months ago still rang in my ears. Katie, please. We're going to lose the house. Your mother can't handle this. Amanda's wedding drained us, and the bank won't extend our loan. I transferred every penny of my savings that day, $100,000 I've been setting aside for my own future, for a house of my own. They cried, hugged me, promised to pay me back somehow. Mom had called me her guardian angel. Now apparently I was an embarrassment. Another text buzzed. It's just one party, honey. Amanda says the Wilsons are very traditional. They wouldn't understand your career choice. And you know how you look after those long shifts. I caught my reflection in the window, the small scar on my cheek from a rescue last year, my hands calloused from the work. Not quite the polished image the Wilsons expected in their family photos. What about my gift? I asked, though gifts seem trivial now. I was planning to bring it tomorrow. Oh, you can drop it off next week, or maybe mail it. Amanda's mother-in-law is very particular about party, morning presentations, and your wrapping is always a bit creative. Like the time I'd wrapped Amanda's law school graduation gift in the comics section because we couldn't afford proper paper. I'd worked double shifts that month to help pay for her graduation party. My phone buzzed again. Don't be difficult about this, Kate. Amanda's finally found her place in society. The Wilsons are connecting her with all the right people. We can't risk anything. Uncomfortable, like watching your parents lose their home. Like emptying your life savings to save them. Like being erased from family photos because you chose to save lives instead of corporate clients. I stood up, walking to my desk where I kept all my important documents. Behind my service awards and certifications was another manila envelope, one I hadn't opened yet. Inside was a letter from the fire department selection committee. I'd been chosen to head the new training program, a prestigious position that came with a significant pay raise. I'd been planning to surprise them with the news tomorrow, to show them that my situation wasn't so bad after all. Instead, I was being asked to disappear because I didn't fit the Wilson family's image of success. My phone buzzed one last time. You understand, don't you, dear? It's just one party. Amanda needs this. Family has to make sacrifices sometimes. Family. The word felt bitter now. How many sacrifices had I made for this family? How many times had I stepped back, stayed quiet, given up my own dreams to support Amanda's? I looked at the party gift on my table, then at the manila envelopes on my desk. Something shifted inside me, a lifetime of being a family safety net finally pulling too tight. You're right, Mom, I tagged back, my fingers steady now. Family does have to make sacrifices. I'll show you exactly how much I understand that. I put my phone down and reached for the gift, but instead of setting it aside, I began to make plans. Plans that would show them exactly what they were sacrificing by pushing me aside. The next morning, party day, I sat at my kitchen table with both manila envelopes open before me. One contained the receipts and transfer documents showing exactly how I'd saved my parents' house. The other held my promotion letter, along with something else they didn't know about. Documentation of my parents' debt repayment plan. You see, when I paid off their debt, I hadn't just handed over the money. I'd worked with the bank to structure it as a formal loan. with me as the creditor. My parents had been so relieved to keep their house. They'd signed the papers without reading the fine print. I pulled out my phone and started recording. Merry party, Mom and Dad. Since I'm not welcome at today's celebration, I thought I'd send you a different kind of gift. I held up the loan documents. Remember these? The ones you signed in such a hurry 3 months ago. My hands were steady as I continued recording. You probably didn't notice the clause about public acknowledgement of the debt, or the one about maintaining family relationships, but they're there, in black and white. I picked up my promotion letter next. I was going to tell you today that I've been chosen to head the department's new training program. It comes with a 6-figure salary, more than Amanda makes at her prestigious law firm. But apparently, that's still not good enough for the Wilsons. My phone buzzed with another text from Mom. Kate, please don't be upset. We'll do something special next week, just us. I ignored it and continued recording. So here's what's going to happen. You have 2 choices. Either I'm welcomed at party, dinner today, introduced properly to the Wilsons as your daughter who saved your house, or the loan becomes due immediately. All $100,000 of it. Was it petty? Maybe. But years of being pushed aside, of watching Amanda get everything while I got whatever was left, had finally broken something in me. I added the promotion letter to my recording. And just so you know what you're really hiding from the Wilsons, this is who you're ashamed of. A department chief with a 6-figure salary who saves lives for a living. But I guess that's not as impressive as Amanda's corporate clients. My phone started ringing, Dad this time. I let it go to voicemail. Instead, I pulled up my email and attached the recorded video, along with scanned copies of all the documents. My finger hovered over the send button for just a moment before I pressed it. Then I waited. It took exactly 12 minutes for my parents' carefully constructed party to implode. First came the panicked text from Mom. Kate, please, you can't do this. The Wilsons are already here. Then from Dad. Princess, let's talk about this. We can work something out. Even Amanda chimed in. Are you trying to ruin everything? My in-laws are asking questions. I smiled, picturing the scene. The perfectly set table, Amanda's immaculate in-laws, and my parents trying to explain why they'd hidden their other daughter, the one who'd saved their house from foreclosure. My phone rang again, and this time I answered. Catherine. It was Amanda, her voice tight with anger. What do you think you're doing? Having party my way. I replied calmly. How are the Wilsons enjoying their dinner? They're not, she hissed. They're asking why Mom and Dad tried to hide their firefighter daughter. Apparently, old Mr. Wilson's father was a firefighter, and he's offended they'd be ashamed of your profession. I couldn't help but laugh. How uncomfortable for you. Mom and Dad are mortified, she continued. And the loan? Really, Kate? You're going to hold that over their heads? Like you've held your success over mine for years? I shot back. The difference is, I earned everything I have, including the right to be at party, dinner. There was a long pause. Then I heard Mrs. Wilson's voice in the background. Is that the firefighter? Put her on speaker, dear. I want to hear about her work. Amanda's sharp intake of breath told me everything. Her perfect party was unraveling, and for once I wasn't stepping back to let her have the spotlight. Well? I asked, enjoying her discomfort. Are you going to put me on speaker? The next hour changed everything. Mrs. Wilson, it turned out, was not just interested in my career. She was on the board of the Firefighters Family Foundation, a charity supporting families of fallen first responders. Her husband, the supposedly stuffy Mr. Wilson, spent 20 minutes asking about my rescue experiences and the new training program I would be heading. Young lady, Mr. Wilson's voice boomed through the speaker. Why aren't you here sharing these stories in person? Amanda, your sister is a hero. I could practically hear Amanda's perfect smile cracking. Mom and Dad remained suspiciously quiet. Yes, why isn't she here? Mrs. Wilson pressed. Surely there's room at the table for family, especially one who's done so much. The uncomfortable silence that followed was broken by my father's voice, thick with what sounded like tears. Kate, Princess, can you come over? Please? Bring your gift. We were wrong. I glanced at my watch. It had taken exactly 1 hour and 17 minutes for their perfectly crafted facade to crumble. I'll be there in 30 minutes, I said, already reaching for my coat and the carefully wrapped gift. And Mom? Dad? We'll be having a long talk about family loyalty after the holidays. When I pulled up to my parents' house, Dad was waiting outside. Before I could even get out of the car, he wrapped me in a bear hug. "I'm so sorry, Katie," he whispered, his voice breaking. "We've been such fools. So caught up in appearances that we forgot what really matters." Inside, the scene was nothing like I'd imagined. Instead of the cold reception I'd expected, Mrs. Wilson immediately pulled me into the conversation, introducing me to everyone as the hero in the family. Amanda sat in a corner, her perfect posture slightly wilted, while her husband actually looked at me with interest rather than the condescension I'd expected. Mom hovered nervously until I handed her the gift I'd brought, a photo album. Inside were pictures of every major family moment I'd helped make possible. Amanda's law school graduation, the down payment for their house repairs, the vacation I'd helped fund. Each photo accompanied by receipts, documentation of my contributions. "I kept everything," I said quietly, because even when you didn't see my worth, I knew it. Mrs. Wilson peered over Mom's shoulder at the album. "My goodness," she said, her voice sharp. "You've been the family's guardian angel, haven't you? While maintaining such a demanding career? Amanda, you never told us your sister was so accomplished." Amanda finally spoke up, her voice small. I guess I never really looked at it that way." "Well, I am looking at it that way," Mr. Wilson declared. "And I think we need to make some changes, starting with having Kate tell us about that new training program she's heading." Over dinner, as we moved to the dining room, Mom caught my arm. "Kate, I don't know how to make this right." "You start by never hiding me again," I said firmly. "I'm not your dirty secret. I'm your daughter who has worked hard, saved lives, and yes, saved this family more than once. Either accept all of me or lose me entirely." The dinner that followed wasn't perfect. There were awkward moments, uncomfortable silences, and years of hurt that couldn't be healed in one day. But it was real, perhaps the first real family dinner we'd had in years. As we finished dessert, Mrs. Wilson raised her glass. "To Kate," she said, "who taught us all a valuable lesson about true family values today, and to new beginnings." I caught Amanda's eye across the table. For the first time in years, she looked at me not with competition or disdain, but with something that might have been respect. Dad squeezed my hand under the table. "Next party will be different," he promised. Yes, I agreed, it will be, because now everyone knows exactly who I am. And I'm done being invisible. The loan documents stayed in my purse, unneeded. Sometimes the power to demand respect is enough. You don't actually have to use it. But I kept them, just in case anyone needed a reminder of what family really means, standing together, not pushing each other away. And next party? Well, I already had plans for that. Big plans, because this firefighter wasn't hiding in the shadows anymore.